Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, I kind of want to go through and just talk about the pros and cons of Season 7 so far in NBA 2K25 MyTEAM, because we're almost 3 weeks into the season, 2.5 weeks or so. And I mean, it's not the worst season I feel like 2K's ever dropped, but it's also obviously not the best by any means. And I think there are a lot of things that haven't been discussed too much on my channel so far that I kind of want to delve into. I know that today's been a lot of these like talking style of videos. This is kind of the third one today, but I'm kind of a little bit in a mood to just discuss certain aspects of the game. And so obviously earlier today we talked about the challenges, we talked about the amount of MT and just cost of these invincibles and stuff that are coming out in these events, these event players. But I kind of just want to talk about Season 7 as a whole and talk about the things I like, talk about the things I don't like, and just give my thoughts. So before we hop into it, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 50,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day, multiple videos a day. Would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. Without further ado, we'll start with some positives because I want to be positive if I can be. And my biggest positive so far is that there have been a lot of good attainable cards so far in Season 7. I don't think the Skylines drop was spectacular by any means, but it was good for several reasons. First of all of the Dark Matters are good cards, at least. At minimum, they are solid cards that if you're a fan of that player, you can use them. Franz Wagner and Sigma especially, I feel like are really good. And then Evan Turner, great budget Galaxy Opal. Al Harrington, great budget Galaxy Opal. Jerome Kersey, great budget Galaxy Opal. Wang Zizi, great budget Pink Diamond. So some super solid attainable cards right there. Then in Downtown 2K, first week they dropped this Rick Barry, who, I mean, dang near the best attainable shooting guard in the game. He's really, really good. His jumper's elite. He's got great movement, high level fade. Like, he's really, really good. One of the best shooting guards, especially shot creation wise in the game. And then the next week they dropped this Artist Gilmore, who's same story. Decently affordable Dark Matter, who's 7'2", really big player build, looks bigger than 7'2". He's awesome defensively. He's got enough athletic ability and he'll knock down an open shot. Another really high quality attainable card. So two more really good ones right there in Artist and Rick Barry. Then you move on to the Splash Zone drop, and the same thing was absolutely true with the Splash Zone drop. Actually, we'll start with Vibes as well. Vibes is the second Friday drop of the season. 100 overalls were decent. Josh Smith and Lonzo are both relatively attainable, I would say, in terms of their price tags being under 500,000 MT. So that's pretty good. Brad Miller, legitimately a very, I never did a gameplay on him, but legitimately a very nice Dark Matter power forward who's definitely a good card. The rest of the cards were kind of underwhelming this week. Wasn't a spectacular drop, I wouldn't say. But then Splash Zone comes out and same story. You know what I mean? Really good Dark Matter and Vlad Rad, one of the best attainable small forwards in the game, arguably the best. I think, especially fully badged, he might be the best. Josh Childress is the best Pink Diamond in the card in the game, bar none. He is extremely elite. Awesome jumper, awesome movement, quality defender, 6'8" shooting guard, just a really high level card. And why is this Josh? Somebody's buying him too with this Josh Childress. 411,000 MT with 48 minutes left for 3 legend badges. Somebody's buying him too with this Josh Childress. I just want to say that right there. Never mind. None of my business. I don't really care. But what are you doing? You're gonna get banned. Anyways, that being said, even some other good budget cards in this drop. Herb Jones, Luke Walton's okay. Rajai Bell's okay. Marquise Daniels is fun. Pat Patterson has a really good jumper. Like, there's some, if Darren Williams is the best 3-hunting cheap guard in the game. I know he's only 6'3", but his jumper's amazing. His SIGs are perfect. Like, in general, I think that's the first pro. 2K's done a good job with attainable cards this season. There's a lot of good ones. Obviously, I would say that you could say that the cons are, one of the first cons is this Paul George. It was a bad start to the season, the fact that he's not really an invincible, but you could also say that it's a pro, that he's a good card. You know what I mean? He's definitely a good card. He's one of the best defensive shooting guards in the game. Definitely a great level 40 card in terms of he is very good. The problem is he's not nearly as good as the other invincible shooting guards are. That is the problem, is that they did not soup him animation-wise the way that they did the others. And that was the most frustrating part, in my personal opinion, about this Paul George. That's what made him a con, because as a card, he's good. Bernard King, good card. Willis Reed, good card. Even Walt Frazier from the Ascension, good card. The problem was that Paul George obviously being an invincible and not having the invincible animations like all the other invincibles, especially at that point that literally all had perfect animations before Paul George, was a complete joke and was really disappointing for sure. I have to say that. But with that being said, I do think in general, I mean, that's probably the biggest pro overall in Season 7 so far, is the amount of quality attainable cards that have dropped. The Memorial Day locker code was a huge pro, 100%. A free 100 overall locker code was definitely a W. Couple of the grinds, I mean, salary cap being 100, it could be worse. A couple of the level up rewards being hundreds was nice, but in general, that's pretty much, I feel like, the extent of the pros. I guess one other pro would be the still kind of parts of the festival. You know what I mean? The fact that Jermaine O'Neal, if you wanted to, was fully grindable, no money spent if you were dedicated to it and did all the challenges, is good. Obviously, Gilbert Arenas was too, although not as exciting. Hito was not. None of the Invincibles, of course, or 100 over or GOAT cards obviously were. And I will say that the other cards were kind of underwhelming, besides Tyrus Thomas, who's really good Galaxy Opal card. Nice free reward right there. Damari Carroll and Peyton Watson are good free at Pink Diamonds also. But with that being said, I mean, look, there's a couple of positives in this festival in terms of a couple of these cards. The biggest negative, though, by far, and it's a very obvious one, is just the fact that these top tier cards are not attainable. They're not. The ones they dropped season 7, season 6, whatever, they're not attainable. Giannis is 5 million MT. Rudy Gay, is probably the most attainable of the elite Invincibles, and he's 1.5 mil, and he's the most attainable of the elite Invincibles. LeBron basically doesn't exist, and he's 6 mil. Shaq pretty close doesn't exist. He's also 5 to 6 mil. Magic is not quite as expensive, but he's probably 2.5, and he's not insanely unbelievable. T-Mac is over 3. Dr. J, similarly to Rudy Gay, has dropped in price a bit, but he's still probably about 2. Carmelo, similarly, probably going to be about 2. Vince Carter, brand new card, barely exists. Oh, actually, there's 4 of them on the auction house right now. That's more than there had been. I'd seen like 1 or 2. Another card is multiple millions MT. Gary Payton's the cheapest Invincible, and even he's over 600K, and he's probably not worth that much at this point. Wemby's 15 mil, literally 15 mil. It's absurd. Kawhi's not even that good, and he's 1.5 to 2 mil. D-Book's 2+ easily. And LaMelo's 3+ easily, and he doesn't exist on the auction house right now. The cards are so rare, and they're so expensive. They're just not attainable. Not to mention, festival event players, good luck, dude. Kareem, I did the math in the video earlier today, would cost you somewhere around 20 million MT to get, if you were getting him with MT. Spending money, over 2 grand, easily. Bob Pettit, Ron Artest, maybe not 2 grand, but 1-ish, maybe a little less than that, if you're smart. But still, that's insane. If you're smart, you would never get these cards. You know what I mean? They're just way too expensive, and they're not worth attaining, realistically. The only reason I ever have an account with Pettit on it is because I was blessed by a subscriber who gave me the account with all the stuff on it, and I opened 2.5 million MT to finish off this Bob Pettit after it was already more than half completed. Still took me over 2.5 million MT to get the last pieces, and I think I got lucky. That's the most insane part. I think I got actually pretty lucky with my pack odds in terms of the amount of pieces I pulled in 2.5 million MT. Getting the equivalent of 11 Invincible pieces was lucky. That's absurd. That is absurd. That means if you're lucky, Bob Pettit's a 5.5 million MT card. If you're lucky, that is gross. It's absolutely gross. With that being said, other pros or other cons, I'm sorry. First con that I think of with the game modes is that the rewards just aren't that good. A Park 100 overall premium, seriously? Showdown is 100+, well, you know the plus is silent. And again, you're just gonna get James Worthy or Patrick Ewing or somebody, Anthony Edwards, like DeMar DeRozan. You're just gonna get the bad hundreds. And then the offline rewards aren't even 100 overalls. Not to mention, none of the weekly content so far this season has been worth completing. Today's Shutdown Streak, I already made a video on it, but it was completely pointless. You just look at the stuff. There's a lot of negatives. There absolutely are. There's a lot of negatives. There's not a ton of pros. Now, I will say these Spotlight Sims challenges have been a pro. I don't know if these are a Season 7 specific pro, but most of them are going to come out during Season 7. Obviously, we're about to get the NBA Finals cards, which are going to come out tomorrow. So I would say those are a pro. The fact we're going to be getting some free 100 overalls. Hopefully they're good. The Dark Matters were good. All 4 of them are at least usable cards. Very, very solid. So I'd say that's a pro if we're looking for more pros. But just in general, I don't think there's been a ton of pros right now to Season 7. And it's frustrating because I think people want to enjoy the game. People want to have motivation to get on and play and stuff like that. And I think for a lot of people, they're struggling to find that. And I totally understand that. It makes a lot of sense to me. I would be frustrated too. I am frustrated too. You know what I mean? Even though I have an account that's really, really good to play on, that doesn't take away my frustration with the game mode. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, that's kind of my thoughts on the pros and cons of Season 7. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.